everyone, and welcome back to English with LinguaTrip. Have you ever wondered what the difference is between economic and economical? How to use articles correctly? Which word to use in a particular situation, or how to avoid grammar slips when you speak fast? As an English teacher, I have been working with thousands of students, the majority of whom were advanced. And I have to admit that all of them had the exact same problems. So, if your answer to the previous question was yes, then this video will be particularly useful for you, as we will sink our teeth into 10 mistakes that most advanced students make.
Everything's in English.
All you need to know.
Alright, how did you learn to speak English?
The first most typical mistake at the advanced level is to learn single words instead of chunks of vocabulary. When I check the essays that my TOEFL or IELTS students submit, I often see such words as a plethora of, foodstuffs, ubiquitous, and so on. Well, there is nothing wrong with these words, and they are advanced. Most often they are used incorrectly. This means that not only does using these words not increase the score, but it actually lowers it since the essay doesn't sound natural. So instead of stuffing your essays or a speech with as many high-level words as you can, you should focus on how to sound natural at this level, which can be achieved through learning common collocations and chunks of vocabulary. For instance, instead of learning the word bust, you should learn the collocation to go bust, which means to go broke, as in a company.
And the whole thing went bust in less than a year.
In the same way, when learning the verb to tackle, remember the expression to tackle the issue instead. This way, every time you will use it, either in writing or speaking, you will sound natural. For instance, you can write, "The government has to tackle the issue of traffic jams," which means to deal with the problem in a determined way.
Have to tackle this issue.
More examples include to be of prime importance, an integral part of, health-related issues, and so on. To find chunks of vocabulary, you can either Google most common collocation lists for a certain level, or use a concordance program. For instance, LexTutor Concordancer, developed by Tom Cobb, allows you to get the word you want to learn in context and discover what collocations can be formed with it. The second mistake relates to grammar. At the advanced level, you pretty much know the majority of grammar rules. However, once you start speaking fast, you're likely to still make little grammar slips here and there, since you get carried away by your ideas and cannot concentrate fully on grammar. This is why I usually recommend drilling grammar at the advanced level, and this is what I usually do with my students during our one-on-one sessions. What it means is that you take a grammar construction that is challenging for you and repeat it or drill it until you produce it automatically, without thinking, just as you do in your native language. For instance, look at this sentence. Is something wrong with it? My parents want to know, when will they be invited to the green card lottery interview? This is a typical mistake that more than 90% of the advanced students make. The problem with this sentence is the word order. While it does sound like a question, it's a positive sentence, which means that the word order has to be different. We no longer need to swap the subject and the verb to form an inversion. So the correct way of saying will be, my parents want to know when they will be invited to the green card lottery interview. So, to drill this structure, take a list of random questions or make it up yourself and then transform them into positive sentences starting with, let's say, I would like to know. For example, do you enjoy studying? I would like to know if you enjoy studying. For yes/no questions, we use if or whether instead of the question word, and then the positive word order. Or, when did you learn it? I would like to know when you learned it. Remember that the verb tense will depend on the tense in the question. Now, the third mistake will be a little bit more practical. Look at these two sentences and think whether both of them are correct. We watched a movie, ate dinner, and talked the whole evening. We watched a movie, ate dinner, as well as talked the whole evening. The second sentence is incorrect. In fact, many students think that as well as is a direct synonym for and, while it is not. You have to follow as well as either with a noun, adjective, or with a participle clause. For instance, it needs ideas as well as images. The design is practical as well as very cozy. You can achieve fluency through speaking as well as drilling grammar. Let's move on. Mistake number 4 is connected with articles. And in fact, every student I have met so far had problems with articles irrespective of what their English background was. One of the most typical mistakes with articles, though, is when students forget to put the definite article before a noun followed by preposition of. For instance, they say percentage of people instead of the percentage of people. Attention of students instead of the attention of students. And the thing is that in about 90% of cases, we use the formula the plus noun plus of, since preposition of most commonly makes the noun it precedes specific. For instance, the number of unemployed adults increased 33%. I'm talking about a specific number, not some general one, so I need the definite article. If you struggle with articles, don't worry, since there is a very simple golden rule of articles that will allow you to eliminate most mistakes you make. In fact, in my course From Advanced to Proficiency, I dedicated a whole second lecture to the topic of articles, so you can finally cover all the nuances of this topic and eliminate this mistake once and for all. If you'd like to claim it, click on the link in the description and get a promo code. It's right there for you. In the course, we will look into mistakes at the proficiency level, learn advanced collocations, work with synonyms and how to use them properly, and discover all the little nuances that prevent you from bringing your English to a whole new level. Check it out if you are an advanced or upper intermediate student, and let's improve your English together. The 5th mistake, by the way, is connected with synonyms. There are several mistakes actually that you can make related to them. The first one is not to learn them at all. This will make your speech and writing rather repetitive and will not allow you to speak more eloquently. However, I feel that this usually is a problem at the intermediate or upper intermediate level, as advanced students usually understand the need to learn synonyms. Still, what they do, they just learn synonym lines without exploring the difference between the words. For instance, look at these words: essential, crucial, vital, fundamental, significant, key, indispensable. While they have similar meanings, they will not always be used in the same contexts. So when you learn synonyms, you should consider the context, which is why a concordance program that I suggested at the beginning of this video might also come in handy. My suggestion when learning synonyms is to create what I call vocabulary flowers with some good collocations. This is also why, in the course, we have 3 lectures dedicated to synonyms, where we carefully look into the most typical advanced synonyms and how they could be used in different contexts. One more mistake is when students confuse adjectives such as like tourist, touristic, economic, economical. Let's look at the following sentences and choose the correct one. What are the most famous touristic places to visit in Sydney? What are the most famous tourist attractions to visit in Sydney? The rapid expansion of cities can cause social and economical problems. The rapid expansion of cities can cause social and economic problems. The second sentences in each pair are correct answers. Let's find out why. You all know who a tourist is, right? That's a noun referring to a person who visits new places normally when on vacation. However, tourist, as an adjective, is used in several common phrases. A tourist attraction.
One day this will all be a tourist attraction.
The tourist industry, tourist information, a tourist board, a tourist destination.
In the world is a tourist destination.
However, the word touristic, which is so loved and frequently used by Russian speakers and Europeans, simply does not exist. Instead, there is an adjective touristy, which is often used by natives to describe a place that has too many tourists or is too commercialized. Be careful, the word has a negative connotation and is only used in informal English. You can say, I don't like this place, it's very touristy. Or something like, can we go somewhere less touristy? As for the difference between economic and economical, economic is an adjective used to describe something that is related to the economy of a country or organization. The most common examples are economic growth,
supporting education and economic growth,
economic problems, economic policy, economic hardships, economic downturn,
The economic downturn has been difficult.
economic prosperity. In contrast, economical is an adjective used to describe something that saves money. The most common examples of its usage is the collocation economical cars. These are cars that use less fuel than normal cars. For instance, you can say, a small car is more economical to own. The seventh mistake is that many students at the advanced level do not learn specific topic vocabulary, which will make it so much easier for them to express their thoughts in a bit more concise and shorter way. For instance, look at this question right now and try to give an answer in 45 seconds. Teachers should assign daily homework to students. Do you agree or disagree? While you probably are able to express your ideas on the subject, as it's super easy, you might use such expressions as absorb a lesson, retain information, lead to academic success, or bond with parents. For instance, you might say, I think it will help students to retain what they learned for a much longer period of time. Or, the only real way for kids to absorb a lesson is to actually go home and repeat it as much as they possibly can. Or in the long run, this kind of thing will lead to a lot more academic success. Or you can say something like, on top of this, I believe that homework can actually give children an opportunity to bond with their parents. So make a list of topics that you discuss most often and research the specific vocabulary to explain your ideas in detail. For instance, if you talk about studies, you might need such lexes as major in, prerequisites, be an A student, drop the course, or ditch school, and so on. Mistake number 8 is when students forget to use an object after such verbs as allow and enable. They can say something like this. It will allow to become more mature and independent. Now, allow who in particular? You should remember that these verbs require an object after them. For instance, it allows people to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Or this enables banks to meet normal cash calls. Mistake number 9. Look at these sentences and find the mistakes. These conditions do not influence on children in the same way they affect on their parents. The thing is that no preposition is necessary after the verbs to influence, impact, or affect. So we will say these conditions do not influence children in the same way they influence or affect their parents. However, when these verbs turn into nouns, they require the preposition on to follow them. This author's influence on early sociology was enormous. I didn't realize this medicine has any effect on health. Now, finally, the last mistake is connected with tenses. Many students I met confuse present perfect and past simple. For instance, they might write, the advent of technologies transformed the world beyond all recognition. This is not correct, as the action is still happening. Technologies are still transforming the world, so I need to opt for present perfect to show that. This is why the correct version is, the advent of technologies has transformed the world beyond all recognition. Same way, I will say instant messaging apps have changed the way people communicate. They are still changing. However, past simple is used to narrate something that already happened in the past. For example, the internet was invented in 1983. Or your wild outburst of anger adversely affected your image of being an A student. Adversely affected means negatively affected. Well, that was it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know which of the mistakes we covered today are the ones you always make. Also, if you like this topic, let me know down below and I will film the second part, as there are so many more mistakes advanced students often make. I will see you all very soon. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.